In the European Party, you know, there must be their own Corsican. This week, Macron took the stage wielding a sword and trying on a tricorn hat for a dramatic effect. In the Elysee Palace, Mr. Macron convened his 20, Germany, Britain, the Netherlands, leaders of Scandinavia, etc. But even before PM of Slovakia, Robert Fico, expressed disappointment, saying they won't say a word about peace there. Certain NATO and EU member states are contemplating the provision of not just missiles to Ukraine. So, Macron made an announcement about a new coalition, which is the 9th in line, and put forward a proposal to NATO allies to supply Kyiv with rockets, yes, more money and military equipment, and also soldiers.
All discussed today in a free and direct manner. No consensus on sending ground forces in an official manner exists at present. In the development, nothing can be ruled out. We'll do everything to ensure Russia doesn't win this war. All things are achievable if they are beneficial in attaining our objective. Numerous individuals who currently express never ever were the exact same individuals who expressed no tanks, no planes, no long-range missiles 2 years in the past.
Never say never. They never said anything about long-range missiles, but they put missiles. And most importantly, both Macron's words and the West do not hide the fact that Ukrainian territory is a territory of confrontation between NATO and Russia. The head of the European External Action Service, Borrell, acknowledged that the era of Western dominance is over and the future of Europe may be bleak, which is not surprising. Recently, in global media and among military analysts, it has become common to state the desperate and hopeless situation of Ukraine's armed forces. Hardly the motive Ukraine is doomed is presently heard in every single place.
Macron's panic suggests that they are receiving information from Ukraine, which indicates that the situation there is even worse than we, the people following the course of the conflict day by day, know. The statement by the French leader about the possible dispatch of a European military contingent to Ukraine reflects the mood of the Brussels elites, who have information that Western countries are quickly losing control over the conflict.
In fact, Macron spoke about the Third World War, nuclear power against nuclear power. However, not all of Napoleon's allies were in agreement and readily agreed with his plans. "No thanks, I do not want to," replied Schulz in Britain, who is being transported on long-haul Tauruses for Ukraine. He hastened to assure that German boots are not planned on Ukrainian soil. And the German media reminded the French gentleman that Paris shouts loudly, but lags behind in terms of help. The situation in Ukraine is really bad. She has entered the stage of projectile drying, losing the settlement. The rates of Biden did not work behind the settlement. The military aid package, which has been long-suffering, has not been approved. Although a new round of dancing with tambourines is currently taking place in Congress. America is approaching the elections and the anticipation of a new series of confrontation between Biden and Trump. Thus, the unpopular Ukrainian matter for the American voter is merely transferred onto the shoulders of the European Union.
It is of utmost importance to note that typically what is on Washington's mind is exactly what is on Macron's tongue when they engage in conversations. And to be honest, it is actively being discussed in the Oval Office the possibilities of Ukraine as a country that should continue the conflict, but it cannot do so without the support and assistance of the United States of America, which plays a crucial role in the situation and has a significant impact on the outcome. The USA, also known as the United States of America, has shifted the conflict from Ukraine onto the shoulders of its allies in Europe, placing the burden of responsibility on them. I firmly believe that this crucial step is exactly the unveiling of the information space about the fact that it is highly likely that a conventional division of certain armies of NATO countries will emerge on the Ukrainian territory. This already signifies the execution of the plan.
The fact remains a fact. In the corridors and official discussions, the probability of introducing NATO troops is being discussed. under the guise supposedly not entirely NATO, but individually within bilateral relations, not on behalf of the alliance, but within its framework. For example, as it was in Yugoslavia when the entire collective NATO was ironed out, but it was called KFOR, a specially created organization. Among those who publicly applauded and cheered Macron's proposal, it is not surprising that representatives of the Baltic hegemony are among them. Advisor Nausėda mentioned that Lithuanian officials are currently contemplating the option of dispatching Lithuanian servicemen to Ukraine for the purpose of training. This hypocrisy is already present, particularly on or in close proximity to the frontline area. And mercenaries and instructors, retired or discharged officers, individuals who identify themselves as NATO instructors.
My name is Major Odin.
Aš esu Briedis.
Aš esu Vidmantas.
Aš esu Lazaris, gyvačių salos instruktorius.
One of such groups is the Lithuanian mission Snake Island. Well, of course, mercenaries. Subtitles made by Dima Torzok. So, Lithuanian officials are considering the possibility of sending Lithuanian military personnel to Ukraine for training, writes the main media holding of Lithuania, LRT, on February 27th. 2 days later, the same publication comes out with this headline: "Why can't Lithuania refuse street toilets?" Commenting only spoils. Although here is another quote inside the article: "The rabbit also does it in the forest." So what's the problem? Well, not much, but analysis is needed. Social in the side, militarization in full swing. Mobile camps are being built for the military in Mariupol. In February, a military town was opened near Vilnius, still in the Šilalė district. And in the spring, the army will transfer the military town to Šiauliai. Barracks being built in Pabroda. Safe to assume for Lithuanian military personnel, numbers not as high as for NATO. And the civilian population is actively getting ready for some kind of D-Day. Lectures with discussions on the implementation of curfew during times of peace and preparation for civilian resistance, both armed and unarmed. They claim Lithuania must wait for a period of 2 weeks. Is NATO genuinely prepared to deploy troops to Ukraine, for example, in Western Ukraine? According to media in Ukraine, this was discussed in the previous year with Poland and Lithuania. Dangerous foreign policy agility of Macron, bluff or PR? However, Washington is considering such a scenario. The act of deploying troops to Ukraine would initiate the most terrifying and alarming scenario imaginable on our continent. Ekaterina Tikhomirova, Mikhail Tikhonov in Main Broadcast.